Have you ever wondered, why is it that some people are just so good at what they do? They're so effective that when they put their hands to a project or something, they turn out excellent results. I mean, they do have failures as well, but they bounce back so quickly that we don't even notice most of the time that they have actually failed. What is it that these people have that the rest of the world does not have? I want to welcome you to this episode of M&A Ambassadors Becoming the USP, the Ultimate Sales Professional. Now, on this video and the following one, I would like to discuss 4 qualities that separate the winners from the average, that separate the extraordinary from the ordinary. And if you can imbibe the same values, it's only a matter of time when you are going to be successful. If you want your 2024 to turn out different from 2023, then you're going to have to become a different person. If you only do what you've always done, you'll only get what you always got. So here is one of the first qualities or traits that separates the excellent from the average. Average people are microscopic in their approach, while successful people are telescopic in their approach. Now, what does this mean? What do you do with a microscope? You take something that's so insignificant, so minute that you can barely even see it, and you put it on a glass slide, you stare down a tube, you blow it out of proportion, and you give it all your focus and attention. Isn't that how most people live life? They look at things that don't really matter. All these small things that can irritate you but aren't really significant. And they take these little things and they blow it out of proportion and they give it all their time, effort and energy, and they wonder why they have results that are also very minute. It's because all their time and energy is being spent on that which is not important. Most people you will come across are exactly like this. They're microscopic. But the effective people, the truly successful people, are telescopic. So what do you do with the telescope? You look into the distance. You look at something that you know is big. It just looks small because it's in the distance. A monument, a mountain, a star, something that's big. That's important. It might be in the distance, that's why it looks small. So because that is what is important, what successful people do is they use the telescope and they bring that into the now. They make that which may come 2 years, 5 years later, but they know that's important, and so they magnify that in the now and they pay attention to that. If you want to become big in 2024, stop being microscopic. Stop making the excuses and focusing on all the small minutiae in your life and start looking at the big picture, at the things that really matter. Now, the second trait that separates the successful people, the excellent from the average, is that the average people are overpowered, but the successful people are empowered. And what's the difference between the two? You see, when you are overpowered, it means influences from outside you are taking control. It could be opinions that are given your way. It could be people who give you the advice and direction and what you need to do. It could be the devils that are running around in your own head. Some of you have got so many ghosts running around, you'll scare yourself to death. So you are overpowered by the situation and by the impressions of everything that is happening around you. These type of people play victim in life, and whenever you approach them, it's always, what can I do? It's always been that way. They blame, they justify, and they complain all the time. Successful people, on the other hand, are empowered. They know who they are on the inside. It's their core strength and belief, and they interpret everything based on who they are. Iceberg B-15 is the largest measured iceberg in human history. In the year 2000, iceberg B-15 broke away from the Ross Arctic shelf. Iceberg B-15 is 295 kilometers long and 37 kilometers wide. It has a surface area of 11,000 square kilometers. It's the size of the island nation of Jamaica. Now imagine Jamaica floating in the ocean. Now when iceberg B-15 broke away, geologists were concerned. and they began to study the iceberg to see what was the reason it had broken away. But while they were studying it, they noticed a pattern. They actually noticed that all the big icebergs, not just iceberg B15, were all moving in the same direction, but all the smaller icebergs kept shifting and changing their directions. And they found the reason for it. You see, the smaller icebergs are driven by surface level currents and the wind. And the currents change according to the temperature and the time of the day. So what would happen is, as the heat would go up, the currents would change, the tides would shift, and the icebergs would shift. But iceberg B15 and the bigger icebergs are driven by deep ocean currents. Now, deep in the ocean, it doesn't matter if it is 8 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, or 7 o'clock in the evening. The temperatures are always constant. So the big icebergs move in a clear single direction because they are driven by a constant force within. All successful people are like the iceberg B15. They are empowered and they are driven from within. But the average people are overpowered. They are driven by the circumstances and the events in their life. I want you to think about these two qualities. Spend a few days on it, and I'll give you two more in the next video to show you how you could move from being average to becoming excellent. I want to thank you for joining us on this episode of M&A Ambassadors, Becoming the USP, the Ultimate Sales Professional.